going to do my presentation from back here so you can see it. I'm going to do a punt return, teach an overview, and then game plan and the most exciting play in football, okay? A blocked punt is a net gain of 59 yards, and yes, I said it in a meeting the day before a game in the NF. And lo and behold, the very next day, we didn't technically block this, however, there is such a thing as football gods, and they do look at you, and they do look at the amount of commitment you have to creating plays, and sometimes they just give you a little helping hand, and then we get a touchdown out of this, okay? What a great thing, okay? So listen, we're going to talk about improving your punt block game planning. We're going to give you some solutions, some ideas, some common punt schemes, and then help you conceptualize and teach it to your players. Okay, we're going to talk about impact of a great punt return, what I just said, conceptualizing personnel, game plan, and scheming and block. Looking at some technique, teach, data, trial, accumulated throughout the years, okay? So we'll talk about the impact of a great punt return. Everyone's probably seen this diagram. You can create a better situation for your offenses. The NFL 2010 to 2013 on the left is the closer to the end zone when you start your drive, equates to scoring points, okay? This is NFL this year, weeks 1 to 14, 9 punt blocks, 8 wins, and then you look at the teams where on average they're able to create a first down, that's at least 10 yards, every time their returner catches the ball. Look at the teams, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Buffalo, Detroit, Denver, playoff teams, right? With consistent winning records here, okay? So what I mean by conceptualizing punt return. Okay, punt return is a defensive play that transforms into an offensive play, okay? If you don't fuck up as a punt return team, it's a guaranteed turnover. It's fucking awesome, okay? But it's a defensive play first, okay? You take a regular offensive formation demonstrated here by the Aztec Lowlanders. Okay, you've got the quarterback there, put him 15 yards back, and it's your classic pro-style punt. Beautifully coached and modeled by the Rostock Griffins of Germany, okay? You take a heavy run formation with 3 backs, call it bone, T-bone, which one if you want to call it. Take that quarterback, put him 15 yards back, and it looks like your classic shield punt, right? So it's an offensive play for them, it's a defensive play for us first, and that's how you teach it, okay? What's the defense? What is defense to start with? Fit the run, cover the eligibles, and it's, basic core, okay? This is one of our punt blocks, and if I conceptualize this against an offensive formation with 2 tight ends, there's 8 running gaps, I got 8 guys down there with 1 returner back. That's how we're fitting and fitting the run, okay? Go to the NFL, your contain guy's got to contain, okay? Your edge player who has the edge gap in the run game, he's got to contain it, okay? Oh, my fault guys, I skipped ahead. My fault. Okay, here we go. He comes off the ball, recognizes fake, sticks his right hand into the wing, defeats the cut block. Now his buddy can scrape over because he's forcing that back in. He's doing his defensive job, okay, which is awesome. You go to Bucks level, Will Brooks here at the L1 spot. He's got, he's got to go contain this shit, okay? He's got to go contain this shit. He stays outside everything, gets to the punter, loses his leverage but has great effort and is in a position, stops a 4th down rush attempt, which was huge for us, okay? It was 0-0 at that point. When you bring in the rush, you've got to cover the eligibles, okay? Even when you bring in 8 guys to rush, you've got to recognize who's eligible. Look at R1, okay? That tackle is eligible because the gunner's off the board, okay? Just regular offense, okay? He's got to rush with caution, stick his left hand into the sternum of the guy if he feels a release. Well, it's probably a fake and he's got to go cover it, okay? Look at the NFL, any punt formation, there's 5 eligible receivers, okay? Just like a normal offensive formation. Have a plan to cover all of them, okay? If you have one guy being a spy, that's fine. He's got to recognize fake, great fucking job here. Okay, I've got him to wrap up, but you still prevent it, okay? You've got to have a plan to cover the eligibles, okay? And then once that ball is kicked, say you don't block it, it's now an offensive play. On defense, when you get a pick, you want all of your players to turn into offensive linemen, right? So put offensive players on punt return. And for me, what offense is just creating space for the ball carrier at its absolute core, okay? So whether you've got a right, left, or a middle return scheme, the key word is leverage, okay? Your guys have got to understand their leverage. Okay, that's the most important word in football, in defense, in offense, and we do it all the time in special teams, okay? Kickoff coverage, kick return, whatever. Leverage, 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 okay? Here, we play Portsmouth, they rugby to the right, so I got my return side players, R3, R2, R1, they got to keep the guy on their left, okay? And we're going to flip the field, go to the right with it, okay? Here's an example, this is our first punt return of the year, okay, with Bucks players. but you can see guys are starting to get it into their heads that they've got to keep that leverage the whole time so a returner can get outside of them, okay? Our returner does a great job here of doing what he's supposed to do, picking it up and flipping the field, and you go from potentially getting the ball at the 5, okay, to getting the ball at the 30. You know, the offense takes the field at the 30-yard line, you think, yeah, that's okay, but you could have got it at the fucking 5-yard line, okay? So fuck, that's a really good play for us, right? You see it in the NFL as well. Tampa Bay got a left return dialed up here. That left side, those 3 players there, they're going to run a twist to give the illusion of a rush, but they are the return side players, and all they're going to do is drive jab. They're coming off the ball fast right now, stepping through the midline of that punt player, and then they got to stay, okay? You get a great returner who's going to stem it to the right to set his guys up with great leverage, and then cut it back to the left right now. All you guys are in great positions, okay? You leave him one-on-one with a punter, who he should make miss, and then you get a great return schemed up, okay? And that's just the whole team bought into creating leverage and being in the right spot, okay? Couple comments about personnel, which I think are important, okay? Utilize the skills that are used in a player's position on special teams, okay? Put players in position and then manipulate their assignments to fit what they do outside of special teams, okay? I do that with having block side and then return side players, okay? So a block side player, 2 things he's got to be great at. Get off, great fucking get off, like a fucking horse out of the cage, okay? And then block avoid. D-ends, linebackers, wide receivers do this in Indy all the time. You can steal, okay, special teams time by just translating the skills that they do in their position to where they fit on the field. And then for my return side guys, right? Jamming and mirroring, super important, okay? And then open field blocking once the kick's got out, okay? DBs, running backs, tight ends. And now you've just covered all 6 skill positions that are really eligible to play a punt return, okay? Right there. Okay, now the actual why we're here, okay? Game planning and common punt schemes, okay? That's where we get more fun. Okay, so I learned this from Dave Christensen when I was the team's coordinator in the ELF. He was our head coach, and he wanted to carry 1 return call and 1 block call into every game, okay? And I like that, I've adopted that. 2 things, okay? We're unpredictable from film. The punt block that I tried against Cardiff in week 1 or week 4 when we played them, it'll be a different one, sure, when we play you again, okay? It doesn't take a lot of effort, guys. It doesn't take a lot of time to get it, okay? But we're unpredictable from film. We get the best scheme against each punt. We play 4 different punts right in our league. So 1 punt, you know, we've got pro style variations, we've got shield variations, we've got the shit little baby version of all of them, okay? But you get to scheme up the best thing against each punt, and then also it's actually less mental weight on players. You think new punt return every week? Fuck, well no. Teach them base alignment rules, teach them great technique. It takes me 3 minutes to walk through my return call and 3 minutes to walk through my block call. I have 7 rookies on my punt return team, okay? But we still get this done. You just got to be a good teacher, okay? So, okay, that's a little bit about game plan, okay? Now, for me, punt is kind of derived into these 2 families. Pro style, which is also known as spread, okay, you see that in the NFL, more shield formations, okay? The protection schemes, just like offensive line, are going to be zone or man, okay? And those are the 2 things you have to know because you have to know how to defeat them, okay? So for me, pro style punts, those tight ones that you see in the NFL, okay, they're normally man protection based, but they can just as easily be zone protection, okay? So we're looking like common, no, hang on, let me just go wide a sec. Okay, why? Why are they normally man protection? Well, the front line are close enough to be able to pass off those twists and turns. They're taking a deep set, like if it's offensive line third and fucking an Uber, and you've got to take a mad deep pass set, you have time to pass off all the funky stunts. And like I said, the protection technique involves setting and kicking, so you can sort that out. Okay, here's an example of a pro style punt. That's what we ran in the ELF. Okay, and it's man protection based. And it's very simple. Our wings are going to take the widest guy, we'll call him 1, tackles take 2, guard take 3, and then if there's 2 fours, like in a 44 front, our snapper and our personal protector are going to sort and take those guys, okay? Here, one of the fours doesn't come, so the snapper and the personal protector double the 4, okay? But what we're just trying to do is create that lovely, like, crescent-shaped pocket, just like a offensive line would for the quarterback, okay? And then for the punter to get out of the way. Now, for a lot of us who coach in, you know, if you don't coach to an NFL field, which not everyone here does, okay, you have the problem of the hashes, instead of being 6 yards apart, they're now 13.3 yards apart. okay? Which isn't fun, you have more field to come to the field side. So we have a pro-style punt at Exeter with pro-style protection, but what we do is we bring in a third gunner, and that just gives us better coverage, okay? We always kick to the right, you can see it on film, it's not secret, it's okay. We always kick to the right and motion the gunner around, okay? But that's just an example of a pro-style punt with man protection scheme. Shield schemes, okay? Shield schemes tend to be zone protection based. You can't really do man protection out of shield because the splits are normally so wide on the front line and you just let guys through, let the shield take them, okay? So you can't pass off twists and stunts, okay? You know, different variations, you see shield. Here's a solo with Paladins of the GFL2, and they're coming out as a really wide split. This is like your offensive line. Then here's some of your wide receivers out here as well, but a really wide split here, okay? And their main objective here is just to release through a gap and chip somebody on the way, okay? You see it in college all the time, right? Here's a variation of a two-man shield, okay? Except here, they try to go man pro. If you're a punt return coach and you see on film the punt team are doing this, it's man protection, okay? Because they're pointing out their guys. We do it, we're a man protection team. I make sure our guys point out, because a block punt, like I said, is worth 59 yards, and you guys know what I would do for my mum if we got a punt block, okay? Or if we could get a punt block, okay? So now we've talked a little bit about shield and pro style. Sun Tzu, the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Okay, much better quote than the one I started this with. Maybe, depends how you look at it, okay? We're going to talk about speed up the block, okay? Best playing football, okay? Firstly, okay? Always have a plan to cover the eligibles. I kind of went over that a little bit at the start, so I won't repeat myself, but if you're bringing in heavy pressure, okay? Just like in defense, I can't blitz 11 players because there's 5 guys that might catch a ball, okay? You can, you're probably a fucking idiot, right? But it's fine, right? So listen. Scheming up a block versus shield, okay? My philosophy is to overload or manipulate the shield, and then we're going to win by alignment. And I'll talk about what those 3 things mean, okay? We talk about overloading the shield, okay? You've got a 3-man shield, you've got to find a way to get 4 guys through, okay? Very simple, okay? Maths, +1, okay? Find a way to get 4 guys through. Here's Oregon versus Oregon State. And then that 4th guy, somebody will come free, okay? If you teach them to rush skinny, some of them will come free, okay? Here's us versus Berlin, we didn't block that. Their shield didn't squeeze, it kind of spread out. So they took the wider guy, and what we got is 2 guys up through the A gaps. But that meant we got a 2-on-1 with the middle shield guy, okay? The middle shield guy stands in there, 2 guys rushing at him, both of his guys have left him. Good luck, middle shield guy, you've got 2, okay? But you put him in a bind, okay? Now, we didn't get the pump block off, but we created an opportunity for our players to go do it, okay? The guy who came free is 5'6", so maybe that's bad by me, okay? 2-man shield, okay? When you get a 2-man shield variation, how many players you have to get through? 3, great answer. Awesome. Great answer, okay? You just got to get 3 guys through, and we'll talk about how to do that in a second, but once you're able to overload the shield, somebody's going to come free, and if they have good technique, you can get them to come free unblocked, okay? What I mean by winning by alignment is the most important thing here, okay? Pay attention, it's the most important thing, okay? Here we go. Winning by alignment is my favourite thing to talk about, okay? I've talked about this at the Aztecs so much, okay? Firstly, it takes an understanding of punt schemes, okay? So you look at the guys on the left here, number 2, which is the left tackle, we'll call him, as they're looking at, as we're looking at, the right tackle. He's got a block all the way down there, that's his zone rule, okay? But because my guy from Missouri is aligned so far inside, okay, it is such a hard job to be able to reach all the way down there. He's even got his weight, and he's sure at the start, he's got his weight loaded on his left leg, so he can punch in, but he can't get there, okay? Because he's won by alignment, he almost gets that clean rush, left hand over, partial block, big play in the SEC, okay? Here's another example of winning by alignment. Again, right, this punch shield scheme is a zone scheme, it's going to zone to the left. Okay, they got a block down, but here on the right side, instead of just lining all the way inside, they've actually got a guy in the way of him. Okay? They've got a guy all the way in the way of him, and now they're able to load through 4 guys on 3, overload, block. Nice. Awesome. Okay? Now what I mean by manipulating the shield, okay? This is important, okay? The shield will either squeeze down, we call it edge of the cliff technique, okay? Or they'll fan out to pick up the wide brushes, okay? Here's an example of the shield that squeezes down. Here, your 3 guys are going to come off the edge, one of the edges of the shield, okay? Come off the edge of the shield, run across the face of the punter, 2 hands down to it, block it. Fantastic. Here's an example of the Bucks game, and Cardiff Shield, what they did, their edge guys kind of widened a little bit, okay? So I said, okay, here we go, we're going to get that 2-on-1 in the middle. Running back thinks he's a big man, stones one of my guys. Great, I get another guy come through. Again, we didn't actually block this, we actually ran into the punter, which was terrible. But we are, again, it's an example of, we didn't execute it, but we're trying to put guys in position at the Bucks level, okay? I can't just show you fucking NCAA film, okay? I want to sprinkle in some radical shit, okay? But study the shield, okay? Does the shield, is it disciplined, does it squeeze down, or does it fan out, okay? And then manipulate it, okay? Versus pro style, or really versus man protection schemes, create a matchup, and scheme up overloads, okay? Here's an example of how we create a matchup. Again, didn't get it, but because we overloaded Berlin with a five guys on one side, slide the snapper, slide the person protect away. My block side are on the left, and they're all getting one-on-one matchups, okay? My return side players, okay, are on the right, and that's apparently where the rush is going to come from because we overloaded it. You create those one-on-one matchups, okay? Didn't get it that time, we got it at one point though. Here's an example of overloading by oh shit. Let's skip it, here we go. Notre Dame. Okay, this is again versus a man protection scheme. Because they've created an overload, they have to slide everyone over. Okay, you're going to look at the guy who's in a one-tech on the center, loops across the center, center's got to pick him up, doesn't. Okay, gets across it, blocks it. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Same fucking game, same scheme, same result, okay? Man scheme, overload. Same shit, right? Awesome, okay? Hey, here's an example of creating a matchup. We're in a fucking return call here, okay? I got 2 DBs out here, 2 DBs out here, but I have the best fucking rushing. In the off-season, right, this guy plays for the Swiss bobsled team. So his get-off, okay, because he's bobsled, okay? Cool runnings, okay? His get-off is unbelievable, okay? And he has a great get-off and he's one-on-one with a fucking wing, and here we go. Great technique. All it takes is one mistake of operation when you get a great one-on-one. When you get a great one-on-one rusher, one mistake in the operation, bad snap, where we get in there and make a big play against the best team in the league, okay? And then of course, you can also bring in a late rusher, okay? Here's my favourite block in football, the creeper, okay? With man protection schemes, they have to point it out. If you bring in one of your doubled guys, creep him in, creep him in, creep him in, creep him in, on the snap, bang, he goes. He rushes off of the ass of the outside rusher and gets a partial block. Tied ball game, we get the ball at the 50, okay? And then if you play a team that motions, okay, bring in the jammer that was on them, okay? Just great ideas you can go get, okay? When you have a return called, you have to have at least one player go and force the kick, okay? E.g., okay, E.g., there's nobody to force the kick for Florida, so the LSU punter picks his head up, sees nothing's coming, and he rushes for a touchdown, okay? Here's another example, okay? SGS, they got a really clever guy at punter, and Portsmouth don't bring anyone. They got a return call, so the punter just sits there and allows his gunners to get down, and then by the time he gets away, everyone's around it, okay? So bring in a guy to rush and force the kick, okay? Yeah. Alright, I'll finish off some technique to teach there, okay? Just one take on, okay? Block track, pass the punter, meaning, don't put yourself on a collision course with the punter. This is the best take of it I've ever seen, okay? So it's got 2 guys doing the same thing. Here we've got guys coming from wide and rushing across the face of the punter. 2 guys at the same time, awesome, okay? Here we've got a guy taking the inside track, and he's taking his hips past the punter, but leaving one hand inside. So his hips is there on a train track, okay? That train track isn't gonna tragically hit the punter, okay? And he's leaving that hand inside, over the ball, creating a nice little partial block there. Great job. Okay, 2 hands down to the ball. Ideally, you really want to put 2 hands together down to the ball. It doesn't always happen. Let's look at a fucking stud here from Clemson. Doing a great job of defeating a block. I'll skip it here so you can see it. Okay? Getting 2 hands together, over, down to the ball, smothering it, we call it. Oh, that's awesome, man. Getting skinny, running under blocks, okay? Getting through that front line, you've got to run skinny and run low, okay? 84 is going to dip his right shoulder here. Load that right foot, dip that right shoulder, okay? Run skinny under the down block. And then almost gets a free rush there. And he gets a touchdown off of that. What a great play, okay? Awesome. When you get to the shield, okay, especially when it's in a compressed scenario, okay? When I say get to the shield and you haven't come free, knock back the shield into the punter, especially in a situation where the distance between the snapper and the punter is compressed because it's like backed up punt, knock back the shield, and then play basketball, okay? Basketball, you go block the shot, okay? Put your hands up over the wall, and if the punter drives it low, your hand's right there, okay? Play D-line, match your hands, okay? This is awesome, okay? Last one, bend to the ball, taking the fastest path to the block point. We've all done that drill, more so for edge players or wide receivers running the sail route, where you want to fall over your inside shoulder, okay? Here's a great example from number 37. Okay, you'll see it on the end zone shot. Don't worry, guys. It's all right, relax. Here we go, okay? Number 37 coming off the edge. Watch his left shoulder. I mean, this is like football pornography, okay? Watch that left shoulder, this body control, able to get across the face of the punter, okay? He's not rushing at the punter, he's rushing to where the block point is. Usually about 10 yards, okay? Scout that for your guys. Okay, great. Takeaways, okay? Real fast. I know I zoomed through that, okay? But understand when I first practiced it, it's 35 minutes long, okay? Teach using concepts of offense and defense, okay? What I said at the start about offense, teach using leverage. Defense, you know, the defensive part of it is teaching using run fits. You know, if I'm an edge player on the wings there, I can't engage him with my right hand because then I'm turned, okay? Engage him with your left hand so you can keep your right arm and your right leg free if you want to keep them on your inside shoulder, okay? So we'll talk about fake containment. Get your players to focus on their defensive role first. That's most important, because if you give up a fake punt, it's a real momentum killer, okay? You've just played 3 or 8 or however many snaps of defense, and now you have to go out and do it again. Or if you give away a penalty, it's really tough, okay? Make your players 100% confident with their leverage plan, okay? This is really important, okay? If your guys can articulate to you, hey, after this punt, I've got to make sure to keep this guy inside because that punt return is running right there. That's really important. That will lead you to better punt returns, I think. And then finally, because for me, you know, I don't have any qualms of how much time I get 24 minutes of practice for special teams, which is really good, okay? But if you don't get that much amount of time, utilize the skills that are prevalent in different positions across the team on punt return, okay? So I talked about my block side and my return side players. If you want to keep the defense on the field, have your defensive line be your block side, your block side players, your rushers. Have your linebackers, your DBs come down to the line of scrimmage, be your hold-up players, okay? If you just want to keep the defense out there, because the amount of time we get, that's always a decent option to save on teaching, okay? All right, anyone got any polite questions?
When you're studying shield punts, are you looking at the front line first in terms of their zone assignments, or are you looking at shields assignment?
No, I look at the front line is the first one because that's how we get the guys through. So they'll either consistently go to the field, zone to the field. A lot of shield teams, especially on college football fields, okay, because the hashes are wider, they'll zone to the field. Or they'll zone to where they kick it most of the time. So sometimes you get that moving shield with a rugby right kick, and then you'll see them consistently zone right. The other thing you'll see is a lot of people just do this and step back on a shield. And for me, that's not how you really run a shield punt with those frontline guys. No, for me, I look at the front line first. That's a good question. And then, you know, that kind of ties into the shield. If you get a front line that zones down, like pinches, normally the shield widen. If you get a front line that zones out, that shield will tighten because you're going to get guys coming through the A gap, and then they've got to tighten in, literally sit there and just, we call it, I talked about edge of the cliff. Coaches will teach, hey, you're backed up on the edge of the cliff, there's a bunch of spikes and sharks below you, and you can't fall back. Okay? But we look at the front line first. Good place.
One, did you breathe through that entire?
Big lungs, he's good cyclist.
2, I mean, everyone could probably tell just from that presentation of what you're like. How do you make special teams exciting?
Oh man.
Short answer, please.
Yeah.
Incentives? No. For me, you get a lot of buy-in from first-year players and rookie players. Punt return, we have 0 starters on it. Okay, kickoff we have 2. We'll talk about exit here. Okay, kick return we have 2. Punt's different. You have to have your best guys on punt. Okay, but if you create great buy-in with your first team players, we got a guy, Will Brooks. Okay, he's the one I showed you containing and fake against Birmingham. He has played 1 snap of defense, but he's played 50 snaps of special teams. Okay,
So like you create that great buy-in from those backup players. You should see us when we take the field on punt return, okay? I have a gang of like 10 guys here who aren't on the starting defense. Punt team comes out, I literally go, punt return, real fast, and they fucking take the field, and it's so great, okay? Also, you can be a great enthusiastic football coach like me, and that.
Thank you, Jack.